Welcome to Positive Filter with your host, Philip Wilkerson, a podcast that focuses on friends, family, health, and career with a little self-help around the way. Please join me in this journey for self-improvement, and I hope that what I have to share will make you a better person, thus making the world a better place. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Philip Wilkerson back with another episode of Positive Filter. I am joined by a special guest. Well, as I said, every guest is special to me, but this is a returning guest. If you have been a listener to the podcast for the almost 3 years, you will recognize this guest that I'm about to introduce. But if you're not, this is your first time, this is my man, Brother Luke Kues. Now, if you listen to the last episode, Brother Luke Kues, a.k.a. the White Wolf of Wakanda, a.k.a. The young brother that's doing big things in Alpha and all over the world. I was trying to think of something smart to say, but all over the country and the world. We met just by random happenstance. I put out a call to have guests on my podcast of members, white members of historically Black organizations, and my man Luke, he found the post, he answered the call, and literally that was the first time we met, was doing a podcast interview, and it was great. And I was like, wow, this dude, we're going to be friends in real life. It sparked a relationship. And since that episode back in February of last year, a year and some change, we've actually fortunately have had an opportunity to meet in person, really become real friends in what's it called? IRL, in real life. We met in real life, you know what I'm saying, and not in this digital world. But I don't know, we're both locked in. He's in a bunker. I'm in my basement. We're locked away. And we thought, hey, for the listeners, let's do a recap episode and bring it back and just kind of touch base about what has happened and transpired a year from now, because a lot has happened on both our ends for a year. But before I go into all that recap, for the listeners that this is listening for the first time, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, how's everybody doing? I hope everybody is in good spirits and health in this crazy time. I am Luke Kues. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I currently attend Northern Kentucky University, where I'm in my 4th year. I'm a biology and psychology double major. I'm involved in several organizations. Like he said, I am a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I currently hold several positions in the fraternity. I'm assistant district director of the state of Kentucky, and I'm chairman for Miss Black and Old Gold scholarship competition at the regional level. Also on the commission for the MOU between the NAACP and Alpha. And then perfect transition, I'm also currently involved in the NAACP in several positions as well, where I'm the president at the university level, at the unit level, and then I'm vice president at the state level for youth and college. And both organizations are something I'm very passionate about. I'm also very passionate about mentorship, so I'm involved in 2 mentorship programs at NKU. I am involved in a mentorship program at the Boys and Girls Club. I've been going there every Tuesday for the past 4 years now and doing some really awesome work with the young men specifically, but all the kids there at the Boys and Girls Club. And then I could read my resume off the rest of the way, but
it's good. It's too much. It's too much, man. We only got an hour. I don't need you listing off all the things you're doing. It's too much. It's actually making me jealous right now. I'm like, dang, this dude's doing way too much. He's doing everything. But maybe we had a little outline, but we're gonna freestyle this and talk. Maybe let's talk about the experiences right now with the coronavirus, and then we'll go into some recaps. But you spoke upon something that's really hurt my heart as well, is that you're going into your senior year, but most specifically, you're walking in December. But let's talk about that student experience in general, whether for your peers, your friends that are graduating right now, how they feel about this, or for you, knowing that this is still part of your senior year experience. How are y'all dealing with this right now?
Well, I think a lot of the college students like the transition to online classes, but a lot of people don't. And I think for the people that don't, we just need to be very aware of what their needs are in these times, and also for the people who have mental health struggles while they're in college, and the people that need that social support. Maybe they don't have that family life and they're back home with their family and they don't have that support system at home. Whatever it may be, even if you think your friend is fine, or whatever the case is, just I encourage everyone to reach out to their friends and family and just check in, make sure everybody's okay, ask how are you doing, and then ask how are you doing again, just to really find out how they're doing. And with that, just reach out to people, make sure they're okay, especially like you said, graduating seniors that are graduating this May. That's something I know my LB Trey, he's pretty upset about the fact that he's not going to be walking. I'm probably going to hear about this till I'm about 70. He's going to be like, Luke, you remember when?
Yeah, honestly, he gonna do that. He gonna do the thing, and I probably know it where a kid who complained, like his grandkids or something, talking about Grandpa. He said, "Don't you complain? Back in my day, Corona messed up my graduation." You know what I'm saying? And I had to walk. To the grocery store with gloves on. Like he's gonna change. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be that. This is gonna be our walk 3 miles in the snow story.
Right. No. And when he has his first kid, I'm gonna be like, I hope he has a graduation.
But yeah, I get it. So, and I think you touched upon two things, and I loved it because we're both big extroverts, and we checked in. I'm literally going stir crazy, but what I really appreciate is that you reached out to me. A lot of my people that know that I'm a people person have checked in. So beyond that, what are some strategies that you've implemented, personal strategies, to make sure that as an extrovert, which I know you are, just like me, to keep yourself sane or in a well-being place of mind during this time?
I think it's just a matter of being adaptable. Definitely being adaptable. So I know I've been able to supplement some of my personal interactions with just reaching out to people virtually. But more importantly than that, I've been able to adapt and kind of going from this fast pace that I'm usually at to slowing things down a little bit. So I've really been able to take control of my daily schedule, and I'll wake up in the morning, I'll drink some hot tea, I'll get ready for my day. I'll do a meditation, just a mindfulness meditation, 10-minute mindfulness meditation, do some yoga, and then I'll go on a run and do a workout, and then I'll come back, drink a glass of water, and start my day, whatever I need to get done that day. I still have plenty of stuff to do.
Yes. Yes. You listed off the resume. You're very busy. So you still need to you still needed to set some structure for your day and for your life today during this time.
Yeah. And I think it really helps me slow things down, just start my morning off that way. And then I bring it all back together and I do a devotional before I go to bed. So it just kind of wraps my whole day up, and having that routine is something that's really helped me through this time. And it's really allowed me to kind of reprioritize my focuses on God and myself, and kind of putting those things before everything else. And then doing my work as usual. Like I said, I still have a full day of work, just most of it's now virtual or spreadsheet oriented or stuff like that.
So for the listeners, quite a significant things have changed since our last episode. So maybe we'll spend a couple minutes. So we first met and recorded and just got to know each other back in February. I have official February 18th is when we dropped our episode together, 2019. So quite a significant things have happened. So maybe take yourselves back in our place and share what has happened for you. Particularly, as you said, I believe between that gap, the NAACP and Alpha made a formal announcement of their partnership. And I'll go back and forth and obviously ask you, I have some things to update too. But what has happened for you between February and February, or February to now?
So I had a lot of similar involvements, but I've kind of had some role changes. So since we last talked, I've now became the president of the NAACP at my unit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a great experience for me as far as being able to develop my leadership skills. Um, I've learned a lot about myself and about my leadership skills in that time. And I am extremely proud of our unit. We have done so much good work at our university and in the state of Kentucky. Um, I now currently have 60 plus general body members in our unit.
Mm-hmm.
We had 3 general body members this time last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I started with just me because the other 2 young women who were on the e-board last year and in the organization last year left. So it was just me this past summer. And then coming into the semester, I was able to energize the students and get them excited about the NAACP. And with that, we now have 60 plus general body members. We had 9 programs, 2 campaigns last semester in the fall. Um, we had a bunch of the campaign revolved around the 2019 election, and we had a lot of programs and initiatives for that, and it was awesome. And that was one of the reasons that Andy Beshear won the governor's race in Kentucky was because of Northern Kentucky. And I truly believe because of Northern Kentucky University's NAACP unit doing so much work in the community, that's why so many people turned out to vote.
Yeah, great. And so flipping on that too, if people have listened or followed along, I randomly, your boy randomly became the advisor for the unit here at Mason. Shout out to Shelby and Dominique, 2 amazing young leaders. They rolled in, and actually, Luke was nice, gracious enough to give him a little bit of guidance and talk to him because they were young. Freshman ladies when they got voted vice president and president and rolled into their sophomore year and didn't have a faculty advisor. They randomly picked me. I don't know. They stuck with me. And because of that, I've learned so much more about the NAACP. I became an active card holding member, paying my adult dues for the NAACP. And then I also, through that experience, have seen the partnership with Alpha. And so it was kind of like crazy how we had that discussion in our February podcast that's how you got introduced to Alpha was through NAACP and all that stuff. And then it just kind of full circle. I got introduced to the NAACP through Alpha or
Right.
just campus. And so it's kind of crazy. And similar to your situation, they took a small group, which was kind of, graduating out. All the leadership was graduating out. And I think the numbers are very similar in regards to general body members and re-energizing it. And I think additionally that voting component was very key where they had a lot of activities revolved around voting and linking up with the alphas, doing the voteless people, hopeless people, and voter. They're doing debates on campus and all kinds of stuff. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
So with that being said, in between that time, did you feel like it was just natural? Like this was just the stars were aligned when Alpha and the NAACP forged a formal partnership?
Yeah, that was great to hear. And that was something I'm really excited about. And as soon as I heard it, I jumped on any opportunity I could to be a part of this partnership. And I've been working with both organizations for the past year now. I've served on the commission. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a whole lot accomplished in the past year as far as the partnership goes. I wish I could say something different, but that's just where we're at right now. But we're really looking forward to organize together on the 2020 election, and I think that'll be a good springboard, and that's something that everybody can get excited about. Everybody realizes why it's so important. So I think rallying behind that. Yep.
I agree with you. I think it's kind of hard when we have 2 large organizations just trying to work together without a focal point. But I think that the thing that we share, obviously a lot of the values and civil engagement, but I think the focal point of actual political involvement, since it's kind of a shared identity for both of them, is like you said, it's probably going to springboard a lot of conversations and development because they're both really, it's almost like a concrete activity that we both can actively engage in. And I've seen it, like I said, we've seen it at the college campus where the two organizations are able to do events that are very collaborative because they both have a similar, focal point.
Right. And I think a voteless people and a hopeless people and the NAACP's civic engagement initiatives do perfectly align. And there's no sense in, especially at the college level, there's no sense in doing the same work separate. We might as
Yes.
well do the same work together, lighten the load on our shoulders as individuals, but also uplift knowledge and uplift enlightenment even higher.
Well,
And
I mean, and I also agree. Like, you're a leader. You're president and a president. What I've noticed in my experience as being the advisor for multiple organizations on campus is that the overlap is crazy. Like, I've seen presidents like the president of let's say NESB is the president of Alpha. You know what I'm saying? Like, they literally, they just say they if they're a leader on campus, they get pulled to be leadership roles in multiple orgs at the same time, simultaneously. And so I think it kind of, like you said, it helps with the efforts because they already got the leaders. The e-board, if you look at the e-board, it's almost like a Venn diagram. You could take the Venn diagram of e-board and see how many things you're involved in that overlap.
right, no, most definitely. And then Alpha and NAACP have been working together since 1909.
Yeah.
We've had several presidents of the NAACP, brothers of Alpha. So
Now, one, I got two questions, and maybe we can. I don't know how far we're going. One, how do you overlap? Like, you have a lot of big leadership levels from state levels all the way down to the campus level. How do you manage that? Because I told you earlier, and we joke on the side. I said I'm a Virginia Alpha. You feel me? Like, you go either you go catch me in Virginia or below, and maybe even closer. I'm a chapter. People, they can shame me and say we're one Alpha, and I totally get that. But I'm a chapter bro. I love, I'm really heavily involved in my chapter, and if I get higher and higher up above my chapter, it's a little too much. So I kind of stay in my my microcosm of my bubble. How do you make a difference in time for all these different levels? Because it gets bigger, the reach is bigger, but probably the engagement's bigger, but also the workload is probably a little bit bigger too. How do you manage that as a student?
I really just take my founding philosophy, my founding principles, the things that I apply on my day to day, and I really just bring that authentic characteristics about myself to whatever level I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
But with organizing, it is a little bit different. You just got to be aware of the challenges that come with expanding your ideas or expanding proposals or working with larger groups in broader spaces. And really, you just have to be more organized and better at communicating. That's probably the two major things. Communication, obviously, it's not going to be in person, so you have to supplement that in other ways. So looking how you can still kind of have those connections and get work done. And also the big thing is energizing people. So it's easy to energize people that you're directly around, but you have to be very intentional with your verbiage and communications in order to keep people energized from a distance away. So really just organizing better and communicating better are the two biggest things when you're expanding to a broader group of people.
And then my follow-up question with that is, between those times, you could keep on doing your thing at the school level, right? What drives people, or what would you say, like I said, what would you say to that person that's like, they're killing it on their college campus, and you come up to them, and let's say that this dude is killing it at his local chapter. You're like, you know what? I really think this guy has the leadership qualities to go higher. And you talk to him and approach them, and then they have some doubt in themselves, or they're a little apprehensive of going beyond their scope. What do you tell that person to say, think a little bit bigger for yourself, or try some stuff at the state level, don't be afraid to. What do you say to someone like that?
I just really bring it back to why they're doing what they're doing at the local level. And no matter what they say, what almost all people in non-for-profit organizations are really saying is they do their work because they love the people around them. And if you're doing the work because you love the people around you, expanding that to the state level or the regional level or the national level, there should be no discrepancy in why you're doing it. So that's not going to change. You're just going to be loving and helping more people. As far as how you're going to do it, that may change a little bit, because you have to consider the differences between the local level and the other levels. But as far as the reason why you're doing it, that's not going to change. So that really is what I bring them back to, is why are you doing this? Because you love people, because you want to help people. Well, if you bring your leadership skills, your organizing skills to the state level, you can have a greater reach, and you can have a more uplifting influence on more people.
I love that. I love that, man. See, yeah, I was coded and saying, what would you say to someone else? But I was kind of actually saying, what would you say that to me? Because, people think of when you do really well at a smaller level, people notice and they want you to do bigger level. And it's kind of a challenge because, one, maybe you're not used to new people at a bigger scope, or for some, and I'll speak very authentically, for some, it could be a little bit overwhelming to get to the bigger, that analogy, right? Like, you love to be the big fish in a small pond, but maybe it's a little intimidating for people to get to the big ocean, you know what I'm saying? And you're still the same size fish, like, I don't change. I'm still Nemo. You feel me? I just feel like throwing Nemo in there. But like, I'm Nemo. I could be Nemo in this pond and feel good, but being Nemo in a ocean is a little bit more intimidating. Way more fish, way more, way busier too. It's way busier. And it may be a little bit more challenging as you level up.
Well, I believe that God doesn't call the prepared, he prepares the called. Yeah. So if God's calling you to do work in his name outside of the local level, then he will equip you, and he'll juice you up a little bit, and you can be a bigger fish if you need to.
Yeah, but maybe, a little bit. I ain't gonna be no shark though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still like to be a fish. So, and let's bring it back to the last episode. As you are a white brother in a historically Black organization. Maybe at the college level, people, that's Luke, that's my man, Luke, right? But have you noticed a difference when you go to the bigger levels and you notice, like, for instance, you being the 1 out of 10, or how many people are in your chapter right now?
Six of us.
Okay, one out of 6 in your college chapter. He's like, oh, my man Luke. But then, like, you go to I went to nationals. I actually did a game with myself. I counted how many white guys were in the room, and it's like 10 out of 10,000. Like, dang, that's crazy. I was counting them, and I knew most of them too. I was like, so was there a difference? Did you feel like you had to prove yourself more at a larger scale, or you was like, yo, I'm gonna still be the Luke, the 1 out of 6 Luke, and whatever it is? And when I say change, maybe like you just notice more eyes are on you. I don't, and the weird thing is, for me as a Black male, I've always been cognizant of being the only, like,
right.
And not to speak upon white privilege, but it's a flip side. Like, very few times in the world will you be the one and only in large organizations. But like, I'm the one only Black male in lots of rooms, even at my college campus, and on the faculty staff side,
right.
And I've noticed that. And sometimes what that's made me feel like, in being totally transparent, is like, I had to make sure I'm on, my game is on, because the margin for error is a little bit different. People notice me, people think of me as an example for other people. I feel like I have to be like some kind of ambassador all the time. Did you feel like that? I know you don't feel like that in the chapter level, because it's your home, it's your environment. But do you feel that sense of eyes on you as you get higher?
I think it's not necessarily a matter of being higher or lower. I think even at my chapter level, when I'm in Black spaces with people who don't know me, I am very intentional with everything that I do, because I realize that this may be one of the only significant experiences that one of my my Black peers has with a white person. And with that, I want to have that be a positive experience. But also, it's important that I'm very intentional with how I act in Black spaces, so I don't disrupt or try to dominate Black spaces as well, because there is a social construct of white men specifically having a power dynamic in America and a power dynamic specifically over Black people. So I try to be very intentional with my white privilege and my whiteness, and not disrupting Black spaces.
I love it. And maybe just speak on it, be real. And you know, like I said, have you had any confrontations at the bigger level? And when I say confrontations, like people say, "Oh, what you doing here? What you doing here, white boy? What you doing here, white boy?" Kind of like that, or just the weird looks or some shade, because you know, you know, like I said, doing the thing at your school, everyone's they you know, you got a positive outlook at your school. They know who you are. They've already got a chance to know who you are. But maybe when people don't know you, and don't give you a chance to get to know you, it might be different because it's a larger. It might not be enough time to get to know you because it's so large. You feel me? So, have you had any kind of negative feedback in your involvement as you gotten to the state or national level, as opposed
Honestly,
to chapter?
no, not really, surprisingly. Okay. And I thought that would be a major aspect of it. But I would say maybe the first couple months of being, maybe there was some questions, just people just being curious and like, hey, why? I kept on hearing why. And like, why did you join Alpha? Why did you join a Black organization? Why did you X, Y, and Z? One thing I've learned, I've answered all those questions to people in person, but one thing I've learned is that if you truly understand why you're doing something and you act on what you're thinking what your why is, then eventually people will see the hard work you're doing, and they won't have to ask the question why anymore, because the question's answered by what they see, what you see you're doing. I just believe that hard work speaks for itself.
No, that's true. That's true. And like, you know, I don't even say your name, but when I've heard someone even throw shade, they say, "Oh, you know, I don't understand why white people join Black Greek lettered organizations." I said, you know, I sometimes say your name. I said, "Well, my man Luke, he's doing the work." And I was like, I don't care if you Black, blue, green. If you want to do the work to uplift an organization, then that action speaks louder. I was like, I know Black people inside these organizations that don't work hard and don't put in the work and just wear letters. So I don't care what, you know, race a brother is of mine in Alpha, because I see that they're doing work. So if they do work and join and they're active, they pay their dues and just actually do stuff like join committees and stuff, then like, I don't care, because those actions speak louder than words to me. So I agree with that too. And you're my legit case study. I'd be just throwing your name out there all the time. I'm like, you know, like, is that the only white dude? Oh, so I don't care. Like my man Luke. They're like, okay, you obsessed? I was like, no, it's just my main example. Like, what other example I got?
Hey, and honestly, yeah, that's very, very real. Like, I am almost, like I was speaking on earlier, a case study, but I do try to be intentional with that and be an example for other white people and say, hey, you can navigate Black spaces in a manner that's uplifting and positive for all people. And that's something that a couple brothers, even in the Cincinnati area, have been able to see and kind of utilize me for, just so that, for instance, at Mount St. Joe's, which is just a small university or small college in Cincinnati, one of the brothers there is trying to get a chapter started, and to just let people know and give the people the optics that you don't have to be of Africa Diaspora to enter the organization. He wanted me to be intentional with having me at their one of their programs, just so that people could see.
And I've seen that too. I mean, I've seen more and more at the state level, more brothers in Alpha of being different races in Virginia. And that's because it's not saying intentional, but I think on the flip side, people of other races have been scared to enter Black spaces because they say, oh, you know, it's not for me, and all that stuff. And it's because they I think that they don't have enough confidence in themselves. And also, I don't think sometimes they may be ready to, you know, I guess, adhere power in a place where they might not have power. And let me phrase, like, they're like, wow, I want to join this organization, historically Black organization. but I don't want to be that one of only in the room. I'm uncomfortable with that. That's, and I'm like,
Right.
I had to tell my wife, and you see my wife. I was like, she's like, I don't know if I want to go there. I said, woman, listen here. You know how many times I'm the only black person in the room? Suck it up.
Right.
And things like that. And because it was like, it's almost that acknowledge of relinquishing some form of control and be like, it's okay to be the one of only for a couple experiences and not be the only, person in the room like that. So I think that's a great example. So we got some time, and I noticed that you're doing some big things on social media that I want to touch upon. Tell the listeners what you're doing and how you're going to the next level for yourself within your organizations. Hello? Okay, so we're going to experience a little technical difficulties. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
So this commercial break is brought to you by Positive Filter. Yes, myself, because I have no sponsors. So if you really enjoy listening to this podcast, please consider leaving a review on iTunes or Stitcher. Every review helps spread the message of this podcast to other people. And if you have a favorite episode, please reshare that episode randomly on your Facebook wall or through your Instagram stories. The more and more people share these episodes and get them out to other listeners, the better this podcast will do. So back to your regular scheduled episode.
All right, so welcome back, listeners, from that commercial break, aka a commercial about myself. I really don't have any sponsors, so it's kind of a joke. But before we went on the commercial break, I just asked Brother Kues that I see that he's running or doing things at the next level of Alpha. And so I wanted to give him an opportunity to tell us what's going on, give us updated, and just, what is that next level? Because we've seen him at the chapter level. We've seen him at the state level. The state level. So what's next for Brother Kues?
So yes, I am running to be the next Midwestern Regional Assistant Vice President. And I'm extremely excited to have the opportunity to run for this position. This would be a great honor. If I won this position, I would be able to serve and advocate for brothers in the whole Midwestern region, as well as serve on the board of directors and be one of the men directing our fraternity. So this is a great opportunity. I'm extremely excited to have this opportunity, and I feel really blessed in being able to talk with brothers throughout the region, just communicate with brothers throughout the region through this campaign. And the thing that I keep on coming back to is, again, that why. Why did I really want to do this? And my personal why, my personal philosophy is that God loves me, I love myself, and the best way for me to show God I love him is by loving the people around me.
So, and this is almost just the same thing, is that you're showing through love and that belief in yourself and that service to other people. You felt called to just actually go to a higher level of responsibilities. When this discussion came, did this come to you, or someone said actively, hey man, I think you should participate at the next level of Alpha? Can you bring us to that starting point for you?
Yeah, definitely. And it was a combination. So I felt that God was calling me to this work, and I felt like God was calling me to this position. And I was listening to God, but I really wasn't sure if that's what he was saying. And then it's funny because I prayed about it, and the next day I had a couple brothers reach out to me. This was in the fall at our leadership staff planning meeting. I had a couple brothers reach out to me and say, hey, Luke, have you thought about running for Midwestern Regional Assistant Vice President? And that was kind of God answering my question, I guess. Yeah. And with that, I really started to reflect on all the experiences that I've had in the fraternity in the past 3 years. I've been to every regional convention. I've been to every general convention, every district convention. And with that, I was just thinking about all the experiences that I've had and what could I offer, what could I bring to the table with these experiences and from these experiences. And the thing that I've realized that's most important in my life and most important in this brotherhood are the relationships.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, that's what brought us together.
Right.
So, yeah, you got called as similar to what happens to me. You know, I don't ask for this stuff. Bama's, like I said Bama's, but whatever. People randomly come to me and say, Philip, we thought you would like this, or we thought you, and then I thought about it, and it makes me reflect and internalize, or what skills can I bring? So with that being said, I know you have a very, very actually organized, not say motto, but campaign slogan,
Yeah.
and the different steps in that. You want to, for the listeners, real quick, give the slogan, and then also those components, and not like the whole platform, but just maybe like what each component means in a brief sentence or two, whatever.
Yes, sir. So like I said, I established 5 keys for regional success, and I labeled these keys Luke's keys, and the mnemonic term comes off of my first name for the words, and then keys. My last name is Kues, but it's pronounced Keys, so I'm trying to help people pronounce my name out here.
Yeah, I think you did that because I remember the first time I did the episode, I said Luke Kues, or something like that.
Yes, yeah.
Kues.
French, you getting French on
Kues. But you're like, no, it's Keys. I was like, oh, okay,
Yep.
cool. But so go ahead with the platform real quick.
Yeah. So my first key is love between brothers, and this was going to come in the form of a region-wide mentorship program. So as ADD of Kentucky, I was able to establish a similar mentorship program, and I saw a lot of awesome things, a lot of personal growth, professional growth, and the biggest thing that I saw is brothers giving me the feedback that they really enjoy the relationship they established. And that was something that was really important to me, hearing those bonds were created, and hopefully they're lifelong bonds. And expanding that to the regional level, I just think that it'll bring a lot of regional continuity, regional involvement, and the biggest thing it'll bring is retention. It is a lot easier to retain brothers than it is to reclaim brothers, and that's why I'm so excited about this initiative and this program, and my first key. That's my top priority.
We're back. We're in the episode. We got Luke Kues. You're going into your second unit, and so for the listeners, we got about a couple more minutes. But how does unity fit into your keys?
Right. So my second key is unity, and we just talked about this briefly a little bit, but this is unity between the NAACP and Alpha, as outlined in our MOU that we established. And what I'm really excited to do with this is I really want to focus on the 2020 election and how we can bring both organizations together so that we can organize, energize, and immobilize voters for the 2020 election. So that is my second key, something that you and I are both very passionate about, and you and I both know how important this 2020 election is.
For sure.
And my third key is knowledge, and this is passing knowledge on to the next generation of young men in our community. And like I said earlier, I've been volunteering at the Boys and Girls Club for the past 4 years, and I've been able to bring my chapter with me the past couple years, and we've been doing this program and curriculum titled Passports to Manhood. And within the curriculum, it has aspects of 2 of our national programs, Go to High School, Go to College, and Project Alpha. So it's awesome that we complete 2 national programs, but it's also great that we're able to uplift and interact and have a positive impact on young men in our community. And my fourth key is expand. This is expanding the scope and longevity of growth. A lot of brothers throughout this fraternity and throughout this organization understand that ARVPs only have a 1-year term, but for those of you who aren't in this organization, just to kind of give you some background, we only serve 1-year terms as ARVPs typically, and with that, there's a succession problem or difficulty or challenge. And to meet this challenge, I want to create a 7-year collaborative framework between all ARVPs in all regions to address the needs that are persistent and consistent across all regions. And with that, passing that 7-year proposal on to the ARVPs that come after us. And then my fifth and final key, and something I'm extremely excited about, is serve. So the service will come in the form of a region-wide mission trip, and there'll be one mission trip to Holly Springs, Mississippi in the winter of 2020, There'll be another mission trip to Uganda, Kampala in the summer of 2021. And I'm extremely passionate and excited about these two places because I've been on mission trips and done missionary work in both places. And as a college brother, I know how excited college brothers are with opportunities to travel, and I think that'll be great for them. But the biggest thing is that no other organization, no other sorority, no other fraternity has done anything like this before. And as alpha men, we should be the first to do everything and lead the way and be pioneers. And I think this is an area and a key that is extremely important, that we are the first to do something of this magnitude.
Wow. I mean,
with that
is amazing. That is amazing. That's amazing. Now go ahead. What's that?
Those are Luke's keys.
Oh, I was so excited I cut you off because I was like, that is amazing.
No, you're fine.
I was like, man, let's go. I was, and I think that's very concrete. And I think that, one of the things I appreciate about you at your young age is that it was thoughtful. It's not just let me just use my name and make some random, words that match, knowledge, whatever. You actually really thought out like, okay, I have my name in the different ways to go about my platform, but then you came back with some actual concrete, tangible, action-oriented steps that, might take place. I think one of the things I wanted to just ask is, like, some of these things are laying down the foundation, but, for your sake, you might not see it to fruition because, it might take time, but you lay down the groundwork. How do you kind of, if someone said that to you as a question, how do you say, well, with these great ideas, you can implement them. I mean, with these great ideas, it might take time. You might not see them come to, be a reality during your campaign. But how do you deal with that? Like, it still gets done, but maybe not in the time frame that you want.
So I truly believe that all 5 of my keys will be completed in my term. And the reason I believe that is because, one, I've beta tested everything that I want to do. So the mentorship program I've done at the district level, NAACP I've done at the state level, knowledge I've done at the community level, expand. I went to Baltimore. We met there in Baltimore at the Alpha Leadership Academy, where I met and talked with brothers throughout all regions. And then serve. I've been on mission trips to both places. So this is they've all been beta tested. And with that beta test, I've taken the experiences I have had, and I've been able to create proposals for all of my keys. And within the proposals, it outlines the dates and the months when all the action plans are going to be completed. And it has a management plan. And with that, as long as I get everybody in the region on board, we should have no problem executing the plans that are laid out in the proposals. And that's one thing that, like we talked about earlier, when you get to the regional level, you have to be more organized. And I'm not only wanting to establish the vision, but then I want to establish what are the objectives, what is the management plan, what does this look like, how's the day-to-day operations gonna, what are they gonna be doing as far as tasks, and from that, I really believe that because of my organization abilities as far as outlining everything in a proposal, and because that everything I want to do has already been done at the local or state level, that we will have no problem bringing these things to fruition at the regional level.
Amazing. I mean, I think this is great. I love, I love the idea. I was very, very proud of you. I even saw that when you had the graphics and your campaign and your videos, I thought it was very organized, very clean. And I was like, wow, we definitely want to just chop it up, but also want to let, like, as someone that can support you, whether it's just supporting you with my platform, A Positive Filter, that, definitely wholeheartedly supports you in these efforts and hope you well. So let's get to our last segment real quick. We do shot for shot. Remember this from last time. You asked a random question. I asked a random question. What do you want to hit me up with today?
Oh, goodness. Last time I asked you what your favorite bourbon was. You asked me that. Let's see.
Yeah.
What's your favorite activity to do during this quarantine?
Uh, you're doing it right now, recording podcasts, and then also just conversation with my friends. You know, texting, FaceTiming, checking in. But I think the two ones so far have been connecting with my friends. And then last new thing I just discovered was this Netflix party where you can watch Netflix with a friend and chat on the side. I definitely have gotten into that. So just connecting with people, those three activities, calling and FaceTiming, recording my podcast, and Netflix party have been really just ways to connect with people and feel connected. All right. For you, not related, what is your quarantine playlist? What music have you been listening to during this quarantine?
Not related? What do you mean not related? That's a quarantine
I
question.
don't know. It's not related to the podcast.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's see. I'd say my playlist, I don't know. There's been a lot of new music. So a lot of people have been dropping a lot of new albums lately. And I've just been listening to a variety of music, mostly hip hop and R&B. And I've just kind of been enjoying some of the new albums that came out.
Hey, you know, I just randomly, this is not to say like, oh, I mean, you white, but I just discovered Jack Harlow.
Yeah, he's from Louisville. Yep.
Yeah, I love him. Yep. I dived in and like downloaded all his albums, and he's dope.
He is dope.
Randomly. I just really want to share that. So, the platform is yours. You know how the last segment goes of this podcast. Shout outs and plugs. Go ahead and give out any shout outs to your friends, family, those recent, graduates that are about to graduate, and then plugs. Anywhere where the listeners can follow up with you, follow your campaign, follow your social media, and all that stuff. So the stage is set. The floor is yours. Shout outs and plugs.
Okay. Shout out to my mama. Shout out to the rest of my family. Shout out to my chapter brothers. Shout out to the District of Kentucky. We ain't lucky. We Kentucky. Shout out to all the members of the NAACP in my unit at the state level. And just shout out to everybody who's listening, taking the time to hear this podcast and listen to this conversation. I think that is very important that we all stay connected during this time. And any time it's important that we build relationships. And that's hopefully from this. Feel free to reach out to me and build a relationship with me. You can find me on my personal social media pages. So my Instagram is Keys2City, so Kues, the number 2, and then City, City. And if you are interested and you are a brother of Alpha Phi Alpha, please follow my campaign page, which is Luke Kues _for MWRAVP. And that is on Instagram. And because of this good brother right here, we're having a conversation, and now I'm going to be doing podcasts to kind of talk about some of my keys. So I appreciate you for that. And with that, I do have a question for you, brother.
Yes.
Are you trying to join the campaign team to be the official podcast guru?
Oh, yeah, whatever that means. I help you, start it up?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, I got you. You know that. I'll definitely send you my resources, definitely guide you, definitely add you to all my podcast communities that I'm a part of. Definitely have my support in that because, each one teach one. Someone taught me how to start a podcast, and I definitely got your back on how to start yours. So definitely, yes, I answer the call, brother. So I definitely help you out on that.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
You know what I was going to say no on a podcast.
He's about to call me afterwards, like, hey, Luke, about that whole podcast thing.
Yeah, hey, man, hey, bro, I like how you smell this place, but I definitely think that it's a great way to share your platform, another medium. And I think that like I said, you already inspired me in general when I look at your Instagram, and I'm really glad that we got to meet in IRL, as they say, in real life. But definitely any way I can support you for free, which is this for free, helping you with your podcast. I got you, you know what I'm saying? So definitely, and the listeners, like I said, if you're not Alpha related, please just follow him and support his NAACP effort, his campus effort, and all those things. If you're an Alpha, just support him, follow his pages, follow his his social media. And even if you're not in his region, which I'm not, I'm in the Eastern region, still support him. Support Alpha brothers, nationwide. We are one Alpha. Even though I try to say I'm a Virginia Alpha at the end of the day too. I am an Alpha across the country. So support this brother by following his pages and stuff, even if you're in his region or not. Support is support. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, look, it's really good. We had some Wi-Fi things, but, we're going to have this episode out. We definitely want the listeners to follow up with you. I always appreciate your willingness to just kind of chop it up with me and also give me guidance. And, this is I'm really excited for you. And I just know that whether you get this election or you get the nomination or not, you're going to still do the work of Alpha and NAACP and just that in life. So, I know that your heart's there regardless of what outcomes come. You're still going to put in that work and still show people that you work through, as you say, you work through love, you serve through love, and just try to make the world a better place because it just makes you feel good. It makes others feel good. So I totally believe that. But thank you for being on the podcast today. We'll chop it up. And thank you, listeners. If you listen to this podcast, please just check out the website, Positive Filter. Spelled Positive Filter with a PH. You can connect with me on my hotline, which is 571-336-6560, or just follow all the social medias, which is @Positive Filter. And we're out.